Right guys, here we are. There's moments during every mammoth task that any of us complete in life where you think, can I keep going? Can I do this? Or at least you think, can I do this in the time frame that it is necessary to do it in? And it seems that on the very day that the NFL release these videos on YouTube, I am indeed in the top 10. And that, my friends, is the best effort I've ever given on this series. It's the 6th installment. For those of you who have been here since the start, I want to say a huge thank you for the support. All I hope for in these videos is to bring a little bit of a smile to your face, or possibly even teach you something, possibly from my own knowledge, or quite possibly from just reading out from their Wikipedia page. At the end of the day, if you get something from this, that's all I want to do. I just want to be an entertainer. I want to create videos that make people smile, and they make me smile. You know what I mean? Halfway through, I'm thinking maybe this isn't possible. Maybe I've bitten off a little more than I can chew. But when you get to something like the top 10, it's just an incredible feeling for me, and hopefully you can sort of feel that come through the camera. Either way, in this video, we look at Chris Jones. The top 10 videos are that little bit longer, but I am going to stick to my format. I'm going to have a look at his stats from last year, watch the video, and then place this player in a rugby team. Chris Jones is an interesting one for me. It's a name that I don't really, it's a name that, you know, being that I've watched YouTube for 15 years and being that I got obsessed with the fitness industry, there was always a guy on YouTube called Chris Jones. And he was a natural bodybuilder and one of my favorite, characters. And so when I saw Chris Jones start popping up on the list a few years back, I thought, okay, yeah, it's a name I recognize. This time playing American football, not so much a bodybuilder, although the way that he's built, he probably could be a bodybuilder. Either way, I've talked way too much. Let's get into the video. Let's get into the facts and figures. So, in the last video, we saw Aaron Donald, and he is a defensive tackle, and Chris Jones is a defensive tackle, and Chris Jones is ranked higher than Aaron Donald. But it's probably because Aaron Donald only played 11 games. Now, which one are we looking for? Arts, entertainment, and culture. I mean, I consider playing American football an art, but no. No, there's been a fair few Chris Joneses. A fair few. In fact, there has been a Chris Jones that played rugby. Professional rugby. Retired now. Either way, Chris Jones, defensive tackle of the Chiefs. Here he is. July 3rd, 1994 he was born. He's 29 years of age, 6'6", and over 300 pounds. Got picked up in the second round of the 2016 draft, pick number 37, after playing 3 seasons of college football at Mississippi State. Got drafted by the Chiefs, and he's been a Chief ever since. They know what they've got, and they don't want to let him go. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, 2019, 20, 21, and 22. 3-time second-team All-Pro, 2018, 2020, and 2021. And I was expecting this, a first-team All-Pro selection in 2022. 2-time Super Bowl champion, soon to be 3. Only time will tell, but they're looking bloody good. In fact, they look good every year, and that's because they've got a quarterback called Patrick Mahomes, who we still haven't seen on this list. And I'm thinking he's probably going to be in the top 5. Either way, I'm going down a rabbit hole once again. Came into the league running a 5.03 40-yard dash, 7.44 on the 3-cone drill, 24.5 inches on the vertical, which is unfortunately the lowest we've seen thus far, a broad jump of 8'10", and a bench press of 26 reps. Coming into the league, I'd say, defensive tackle at 6'6" and over 300 pounds, pretty standard. He's definitely faster than most, and it's not as if he needs to jump too high. So let's continue. Oh, have a look at this. Jones, right, with President Joe Biden after winning his 2nd Super Bowl. Hasn't do you reckon Chris Jones is thinking, what the fuck is this guy on about? I don't know. I'd love to hear the speech. Okay, so 2022 stats. 17 games played, 44 combined tackles, 30 solo, 14 assisted, 15.5 sacks, 4 passes deflected, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery, bringing his career totals to 107 games, 243 combined tackles, 168 solo, 75 assisted, 65 sacks, 1 safety, 33 passes deflected, 2 interceptions, and 1 interception for a touchdown, which was a 20-yard run in 2018. 12 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. He has been absolutely treated to the postseason. Every single year he's played, Kansas City have made the postseason. That's amazing. That's unheard of, actually. Coming into the league as a rookie, reaching the postseason. Look, he took a while to warm up. 4 seasons, in fact. They won their first Super Bowl. They had 2 years off. Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford came in to ruin the party, but then in 2022 came back and won it again. So he has a lot of postseason experience, which is only going to serve him well for the second half of his career. Most consecutive games with a sack, 11. He holds the NFL record. All right, guys, that's enough of that. This is a 6.5-minute video. This is where it steps up in length and where I need to step down in talking shit. All right.
What do you think you are this year?
Top 5, I should be.
I'm sworn to secrecy, but you're definitely in the top 10.
Am I in the top 5?
I'm sworn to secrecy, but you're definitely in the top 10.
Let me know if I'm in the top 5. I will hit a chair over my head right now, knock myself out.
You're definitely in the top 10.
Sworn to secrecy, somewhat. I don't like where this is going. He's 6'6". He's a fucking monster. And you're going to play with him like that? All right.
I'm not in the top 5. God dang it.
Yeah, he saw right through you.
Chris Jones is just one of those guys, and that you always circle.
For whatever reason, Dion Dawkins, every single time he comes up, I think it's Aaron Donald, or at least make comparisons between him and Aaron Donald.
And you game plan for it.
You can't help it.
You know, he's definitely one of the best interior pass rushers, I think, in a long time.
Yeah, one of the best and one of the biggest.
Big time rush, Chris Jones.
He's about as complete as you can be.
That's one of those matchups, you know what type of day it's going to be. Even when you think you're in the open, this might be a gash, just keep your eyes peeled. I kind of hate playing against Chris Jones.
Oh, I think I saw an elbow snap just there.
I actually kind of hate playing against him.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying.
Being a menace, just someone who wants to disrupt the backfield. He wants to disrupt whatever scheme you have coming on. You got to handle him. You got to put 2 on him.
In 2022, Chris Jones was named first team All-Pro.
Interesting to hear some opinions from running backs, right? What about the linemen? What about the offensive tackles? That's who I want to hear from. How is he so dominant?
Finished 3rd in the Defensive Player of the Year voting and led all interior linemen with 15.5 sacks. But his most impressive play technically didn't count.
It didn't count, but I'll say the sack on Derek Carr. Sack forced fumble that they call a roughing the passer for.
Where's the unnecessary roughness here?
Chris Jones actually comes up with the football.
That was my best play.
The biggest play number 95 made last season sent the Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
When the lights are...
I need some sports science type shit on that get-off. You know, to see the amount of power generated. That'll be, ESPN Sports... What do they call it? Sport? Yeah.
Sent the Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
When the lights are at its brightest and he needs to make a play, it always seems to be him making it.
Own your doofus! Don't let 95 split us!
Biggest play, probably AFC Championship game. Sacking Joe Burrow.
What's going to happen here? I mean, there's a clear gap, right? We see that. What is this motherfucker doing? Tight end? What's he going to do? You got to stop putting tight ends on defensive tackles.
Chris Jones, need to see you, 95.
3rd down and 8. Cincinnati, Burrow retreating. And now he's going to be sacked! Down he goes! Down he goes! Chris Jones! Destroying the blocker on the near side!
For me, the biggest play that Chris made this year was an AFC Championship game.
Well, that's a voice we all recognise. I think it's the first time we've seen him. This list. Makes his debut at number 10.
Getting the sack on Joe Burrow. They have a guy like Chris Jones who makes those big plays happen. That's the reason that we even got to the Super Bowl.
On the previous 2 plays before that play, I lined up inside. and they were just sliding to me, so I don't think they knew I was going outside. I actually thought I was going to get chipped by the tight end.
Okay. Now we see it from a different angle.
I noticed that the tight end was on the line, so usually when
No, the tight end went right by him. What's going to happen here? Swipe to the left, step to the right.
tight end is on the line,
No. Just sticks to the left, backs himself.
it's like a chip really
On the outside, right? Let's watch that
was
again.
going outside. I actually thought I was going to get chipped by the tight end. I noticed that the tight end was on the line, so usually when the tight end is on the line, it's like a chip release. But the tight end didn't touch me. So I was like, okay. So it's just me and the right tackle one-on-one. Grabbed the top of my jersey
He did give him a little shake on the inside, right? Just to put him off just that little bit. That's how he got to the
pad
outside.
and I ripped through it. Ended up getting a sack, and I knew it was
The thing is, you watch these guys, right? They look like little ants out there, especially with the camera angle that's further away. This guy is 6'6" and over 300 pounds. He ain't no ant. He's a fucking rhinoceros.
game over.
Excellent job by Chris Jones. Need the big play, the stars to shine on center stage.
Bye-bye. Waved a hand, and yeah, that was a surreal moment.
You know, certain teams have their guys line up in one spot, but you saw it in the AFC Championship game. You know, he was getting double teamed on the inside, and they're like, all right, let's put him out over the tackle. And he you know, made a guy miss and got a huge sack for him to get him really to go to the Super Bowl.
When I see him switch out with Dunlap on the edge, I'm like, he about to make a play.
To be able to be an interior rusher, then pull out and rush like an edge rusher.
I've got to say, the right tackle did everything right. It's just you're coming up against a guy called Chris Jones.
300 pound or 290 some pound guy, bro. That's elite. 300 pound or 290 interior rusher, then pull out and rush like an edge rusher at a 300 pound or 290 some pound guy, bro. That's elite.
Being so good with his hands, having pretty good get off for his side, so he's able to rush off the left side, the right side,
Defensive end in a defensive tackle's body.
the inside. You know, once he gets those hands on a tackle, they don't know what to do with him. And he hits you with a cross chop or a swipe, or he hits you with a long arm and a club, and you're like, yo, this is, I haven't seen this power all game. Like, coach, come on.
Hey, let's all start right there.
You know what's funny? Just imagining looking up at these guys on the sideline, or even once you get put on your back, you look up at them, you stand up, right? 6 foot. 6'1" is certainly above average in height. You're looking up at them like this. Oh shit.
And now I'm like, this why he, you know, up for Defensive Player of the Year. And, you know, quite frankly, I think he deserved to win Defensive Player of the Year.
It's like the blueprint. Like I tell people all the time, like what I want to become, like the closer, the elite guy to step up in the end. When the team needs the elite guys the most, they step up and make plays
Nice
for their
sack
team
right
to
there.
win football games.
Whether it's a Week 9 game against the Titans or the second
He just
quarter
doesn't
of the
let, he
Super
doesn't
Bowl,
let you go, right?
Chris is always
where you going, Willis?
jumping for more.
We don't win this game. It's the D-line fault. We got too many undisciplined plays out of us.
For me, I'm never satisfied. I always feel like I can get.
Isn't that interesting, seeing the comparison between, you know, softly spoken, calm, collected, and then on the sideline just getting absolutely amped at your team, because that's all that matters, is getting a win. And if you were to feel like any of your teammates are lacking, you're going to fucking
Get better.
tell them
As
about
a
it.
premier defensive tackle, what's not often said about someone is that they have that hustle. That's exactly what he is.
That point in time in the game, I didn't have
Did you see how much dirt was displaced by his knees? That is some weight right there.
tackle. I didn't have a pressure. I had nothing. So in my head now, in order to get a tackle, I gotta do something extraordinary. And I seen him throw that little route, and I'm like, okay. And I end up running him down. I give props to Joe Cullen, man.
I was waiting on it. I been waiting on it.
And it's one thing you can't
Yeah,
coach
man,
at football.
the energy of the NFL on the bench between players and coaches is just unmatched in sports, man.
Oh, that's effort.
When you're playing a guy like that,
That shit don't happen in rugby.
You have a
They just
plan for
don't.
him. You know where he's at on all downs. You have a plan for him on third down. So either
That kind of interaction between players and coaches just doesn't happen,
chip
man.
him, slide to him.
Is it because it doesn't mean enough? Does it not mean as much? I don't know.
You have that in the back of your mind when you're going into a guy like that, and if not, he wrecks the game.
Well, actually, I do know, because after a play, the player stays on the field. They're not going to come off. I mean, the offense doesn't replace the defense. Everyone stays on the field. So the coaches don't have an opportunity to do that. I think that's why. But yet we do desperately need some more charisma in the game of rugby. I'll tell you that much.
He's been up there, neck and neck with AD for a while, and I think he's trying to take over, have his time at the top, and he had a hell of a year.
Top 10, I'll be cool. Out of the top 10, I'll stop watching.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, mate. Okay, so that was an interesting video. Longer than most. Chris Jones. Where do we put him in a rugby team? That's the final piece of the puzzle here. At 6'6" and 310 pounds, with the ability to chase down running backs if he needs to. I'm not going to put him in the back line, don't be stupid. I am going to keep him in the forwards, and I'm going to put him in at lock, and he's going to, he might have to drop 20, 30 pounds, but he's got the height. He's got the height for it, and with the position of lock, you're just that little bit taller and possibly just that little bit more mobile than the likes of like a prop or a hooker. So the props and hookers and flankers get over the ball, secure the ball. As a lock, you're not necessarily in the ruck. You could well be out in the back line, right? So I'd love nothing more than to see Chris Jones line up in a pod out to the left or right and be that front runner. Get that A ball and lower his shoulder and run with the ball. I mean, that's what I just can't help but imagine any of these defensive players do, is get the ball like a running back, a handoff, a backwards pass, a pitch, whatever you want to call it, lateral, and fucking run with the ball. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of rugby. Hey, if you love laying the smack down, if you love defending, that's great. But you're also going to get the opportunity to run with the ball. So Chris Jones, I would place him in at lock just because he's got that little bit more height. Now, actually, I'm going to change my opinion. I'm going to put him in at flanker. It would be the biggest flanker ever to play the game, but he'd also be an option in the line-out. So you'd have your sort of more lanky, probably taller guys playing lock, and then outside of them would be the flankers, and then behind them would be the number 8, the number 9, and out into the back line. So I would say play flanker, but also be an option in the line-out. We've got too many number 8s now, so I'm going to put him in at flanker. And when you think our number 8 is probably going to be about 140 kg, you got a couple of flankers at 140 kg, you got Aaron Donald at hooker at 125 kg, and you've got the likes of Trent Williams in at prop, another 140 kg guy. I mean, you're going to have a 1-ton scrum, and I don't know whether that's ever happened in the history of rugby. So these numbers are all theoretical. You do need a big motor in the game of rugby. You don't get the opportunity to go off the field, get some oxygen. It just doesn't happen. So whether he would have success in the game of rugby, only time would tell. He'd probably have to drop at least 20, 25 pounds. But hey, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Those rings are worth about 50 grand each. And unless he's playing at the top level of professional rugby, he'd be lucky to earn $50,000 a year. So stay in American football, mate. Best of luck for the coming season. Can the Chiefs do it again? They've got every chance. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.